It's August 11th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR today. Sorry for the missed episode yesterday, but we are back at it because MSTR, Michael Saylor, and the strategy team have another Bitcoin buy. Of course, they hinted at it yesterday with the Michael Saylor post. If you don't stop buying Bitcoin, you won't stop making money. And Michael Saylor is going to buy Bitcoin at every opportunity that he intelligently can buy Bitcoin. Love it all around. And nothing in this video is financial advice, but please do hit that like button to support this channel. It is much, much appreciated. And of course, your comments are always loved. Thank you to those commenters who keep it up. I appreciate you so much. Michael Saylor wants us to know that Strategy has acquired 155 Bitcoin for $18 million at 116,401 per Bitcoin and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 25% year to date. As of 2025, they hodled 628,946 Bitcoin acquired for $46 billion at $73,000 per coin. And that is with MSTR, Stretch, Strike, Strife, and Stride. Should I be looking into why he's ordering it this way? Stretch first. Well, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Chris wants us to know where the ATM proceeds came from. No place except for Strife. Very interesting. They only hit Strife last week. I'm not sure why. I wonder if something will come out later. But as you can see, here we go. Nothing like 2 weeks ago for sure. But hey, 13 million is 13 million. And they were able to raise over $13 million with just one of their preferreds. So let's keep this train a-rolling. Speaking of rolling, today, which was yesterday, marks 5 years since Strategy adopted a Bitcoin strategy. Blow out that candle. 5 years is a massive accomplishment. Let's go. The honey badger is happy and life is good. It's crazy. I wish I had been on board for the whole 5 years. I wasn't, but I will be on board for the next 5 years. That I can promise you. Jeff wants us to know that 5 years ago today, Strategy purchased their first Bitcoin. 21,454 Bitcoin were acquired for $250 million. 1,825 days later, they now hodl 628,000 Bitcoin valued at $73 billion. That's $40 million per day in capital raise / appreciation. Huge congrats to Saylor and team. The strategy is working. And yes, it is. And man, it's been a great ride. We just want you to remember to sell your chairs. What is Michael Saylor sitting on? The floor, because he sold his chair. I mean, Bitcoin's over 120,000, at least at the time of this recording. It actually touched 122,000 last night. It's kind of been bleeding off for the past number of hours. We'll see if there's a bounce off of 120 or if it keeps going back down into the teens. But regardless, momentum is arising. The next post from Michael Saylor is about Stretch. STRC is short duration, high yield credit. You can see all the stats here. It's currently at 97.50. It's a 9% dividend. The effective yield is actually currently over that at 9.2%. And then all the other stats here, which are pretty cool. But something that I wanted to share with you is that actually, let me hit the refresh button on this. In the pre-market, so who knows where it's going to open, but the pre-market is actually up to 98.40. I did post on this channel at $88.90. So $88.98 was actually my first buy. So just about $89. I bought Stretch and I posted on this channel. I believe that Michael Saylor is saying the truth, is speaking the truth when he says this is going to $100 and then he's going to pin it between 99 and 101. And then as time goes on, he's even going to tighten that gap up a little bit. So, man, it's been a pretty much straight march. Let's see the 1 month. It's been a pretty much straight march all the way. I guess I have to go back even a little more than a month, 6 months, up to where we're at now at 98.40. I'm going to be putting a sell at 101. So if that does get up to 101, I'm out. And then I'm going to rotate into something else, maybe a Stride. That's getting about 11.5% right now. I'm kind of hoping that doesn't have a jump in the near term days or weeks, because again, I can't sell until after August 16th because I want to capture the 9% dividends that I have earned by holding it this entire time. But the actual snapshot day is going to be August 15th, so I don't want to sell until well after that. I consulted ChatGPT and they told me that would be a safe time to sell and still collect the dividends. So I'm going to believe ChatGPT if the 16th proves to be the time to sell. So great times there. Bitcoin Archive says, just in, Bitcoin treasury companies now hodl 1.85 million Bitcoin worth 219 billion. Supply is drying up fast. And this is on a monthly basis right here. Look at this grind up, and it's only going one way, up. Let's go. The Bitcoin Archive says, Michael Saylor has a quote: inflation is worse than you think, and Bitcoin is better than you know. Simply put and well put. Jeff wants us to do a little update with Bitcoin at 121,750. It's a little below that now, but when it was at that price point when he posted this, MSTR has an 8.5 billion unrealized gain in Q3. That's a $22.50 earning per share, 41 days into Q3. The last earnings per share was $35. The estimated PE ratio 11.8. The S&P market average PE ratio is 25. Strategy is making money and storing its value faster than anyone else. And here's the numbers. They don't lie. Numbers don't lie. And then I like the post following up when he said, oh, and MSTR only needs Bitcoin to move 6% higher. That's to 129K for Q3 to surpass Q2 gain, which was, of course, monumental. So insane times. And Bitcoin 21 million. He's keeping the countdown for us. 5 days until the S&P 500 ranking day. So it's actually now 4 days because this was posted yesterday. So the S&P 500 quarterly rebalance countdown ranking day is going to be in 5 days. They will announce it in 26 days on September 5th. So we'll see what happens then. And then they will rebalance on September 19th, which will be 40 days. You better believe if there's any kind of announcement coming, there's going to be a front running during these, 14 days right here. Will be a pretty crazy 14 days. And I have a couple great MicroStrategy video clips coming up at you right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. PayPal just made it official. They're letting US merchants accept Bitcoin. That's not just a news story, it's a sign of where things are going. And it raises a critical question. If the world is shifting toward Bitcoin, are you doing enough to participate? Because here's a powerful way to go further: convert an old 401k or IRA into a crypto IRA with the help of Bit IRA. Bit IRA will help you convert it free of taxes or penalties. And here's why you'll love them: end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the US government. And it's fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without taxes incurred on any buys or sells. If you already put money into an IRA or employer-sponsored 401k on a regular basis, why not invest into a Bitcoin IRA each month? Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Again, that's bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
6 months have been tremendous. All of the fundamental planets have aligned. Bitcoin's been acknowledged as the one digital commodity in the world by the administration. The banking regulators have given a green light to bank Bitcoin. The accountants have upgraded the accounting to fair value accounting. There's been a surge of Bitcoin treasury companies. There's like 100 public companies or more that are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and every single week there's another announcement. I think that, it used to be we're focused on the halvings, but at this point, the entire natural supply of Bitcoin is only 450 Bitcoin available for sale every day. That's sort of about $45-50 million a day at this level. That is all being consumed by the Bitcoin treasury companies, and the Bitcoin ETFs are coming on strong. So I'm very bullish. My my forecast in July of last year in Nashville was Bitcoin's going to appreciate 29% a year on average for the next 21 years. And that moves it from, it was about mid 60, 65,000 to 13 million a coin in the year 2045. I'm getting more bullish on that forecast, but I'm certainly comfortable forecasting 30% a year ARR on average for the next 20 years. I think Bitcoin's up 57% a year for the past 4.5 years. Again, that's double the Mag 7. That's quadruple the S&P. That's 8 times real estate, and bonds are down 4%. So Bitcoin is smashing everything, Joe.
Well, how should the U.S. pursue a Bitcoin strategy? Well, Senator Lummis has given us a clear guideline with the Bitcoin Act in Nashville in July. And what the Bitcoin Act said, it said, let's acquire 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period in a programmatic, disciplined fashion, transparent to all. And so let's consider the consequences of this strategy. Well, first of all, last week, the president signed the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act or order. If we hold that 200,000 Bitcoin for the next 20 years, even though you see a flat line on the screen, the flat line is worth $3 trillion. So that's the value of doing nothing. Sometimes people think that you have to do something to make money. Sometimes the absence of doing awful and stupid things is making money. Doing stuff is highly overrated if the stuff is trading or selling your Bitcoin. The Lummis bill would acquire a million Bitcoin or 1.2 million Bitcoin. If you look at the consequences of that over the time frame, it's worth $16 trillion to the nation. If you get a bit more aggressive and we go for another million Bitcoin, it's worth $34 trillion to the nation. In this case, there's a bit of reflexivity. If the United States starts to more aggressively stockpile Bitcoin, it's going to accelerate the growth of the network. It's going to accelerate capital flowing in the network. It's going to increase and expand the overall digital capital network. If we move to a triple max strategy, you'll end up with 4 million Bitcoin. That's worth $73 trillion to America. And of course, President Trump has laid out a guideline. We should be the superpower. If you want a superpower strategy, here's a superpower strategy. Acquire Bitcoin consistently. By the way, over what time frame? Consistently daily between now and the 0.99. 0.99 is January of the year 2035, the point at which 99% of the Bitcoin supply has been mined. The asset becomes effectively capped for all practical purposes, because the last 1% comes out over 100 years. 0.99 between now and then you've got 10 years for the digital gold rush. You should get your Bitcoin before there's no more Bitcoin for you. And you can see here, in this strategy, we acquire it consistently, and then we use surpluses from the U.S. government to continue to save in Bitcoin. It's worth $106 trillion to the United States. And so what does that look like? Well, the Lummis plan, which is grand, is modest in some ways, and a modest strategic Bitcoin reserve plan neutralizes the national debt. Sometimes doing modest things are actually brilliant as long as you do the thing. It's like the people that bought just a little bit of Bitcoin in 2012. It was a modest investment. It made them billionaires. A modest thing 20 years in advance is a brilliant thing. If you're more aggressive, the triple max plan negates the national debt. The superpower plan creates a global superpower.
What's the second best? There is no second best.